Yeah. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your boy Charles Gregory with the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And we are definitely in the house today. We got a jam-packed show, and I got an interesting conversation that I'm going to talk about. Somebody, wanted to mention me in one of their posts. So I said, okay, no problem. Touche, my friend. We'll get to talking about it on the other side. A lot of this is just friendly banter, and
you don't need to bring your boxing skills out.
No, I don't need to bring out no boxing skills. I mean, it's just friendly, cause the funny thing is I actually respect this guy, right? I respect, and I'll talk a little bit more about him a little later. But I'm super excited about the show. We have 2 dynamic interviews, right? Mm-hmm. We have one in the house today. We're going to bring on about 8:30ish to talk a little bit about Civics, talk about his movement, some of the things that he's doing within his organization. We're going to also talk to someone who's streaming in, so we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Got good news, bad news.
That's right. So it's jam-packed.
What's
up with this hat? Is this like because of the game?
It's the game. Listen, shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles. I had to put on my green today, man. Like,
I see.
I'm super excited about the Eagles. Game day tomorrow. Yeah. And what you think they're gonna do? What do you think they're gonna do?
I hope that they use the weather to their advantage.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh, it's supposed to snow really heavy. I forgot about
heavy.
that. Yeah.
And if you from Philly, you know how to work in this snow. So hopefully they take and use the weather to their advantage.
Yeah, no doubt. Go birds, right? And so I'm just super excited about the game. I'm gonna be. Don't call me during the game. I'm turning off my phone.
You bet on it?
I didn't bet on it.
Okay.
I didn't bet on the game, right? I didn't bet on the game, but
and also men know this, and there's a lot of women that are Eagles fans, sports fans. I'm not discounting that. I'm just saying, when a game happens, if it's your team or not, you are not a player. Like, don't be making the whole house feel like somebody died. Like, it's like the worst feeling. Like, don't get frustrated with the wifey, or even wifey don't get that way with the husband. But whatever it is, either way, either gender, just know, better luck next time. That's it. Like, Eagles gonna win. They got it.
I'm say you're talking as if
no, they gonna win. I'm just saying, for any team that doesn't make it, I mean, some people really act like they, signed the contract.
Yeah.
They really be like, yeah. And I know what real sportsmanship feels like. I know what that feels like when you be like, oh man, it's a downer, but. Yeah.
No, shout out. Go Birds. Go Birds.
They got it.
Eagles winning, right?
They're going to win.
All right.
I just claimed it.
All right, you just claimed it. You're going to win. So go Birds. Shout out to Philadelphia. Shout out to all the fans of Philadelphia. Something that was in the news, a Philadelphia fan got really belligerent to a couple people who were in the stands. Mm-hmm. And it went viral. And that has been a huge conversation.
I need late in the show. Can you bring that up?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. I'll try to put it. Oh, you didn't see it? Oh, wow. He was really, granted, he was really disrespectful, using certain words that you shouldn't be saying to a young lady, right? And so he gets no pass for that. That said, as a Packers fan, you don't go try to find the worst section of Eagles fan on purposely sit in that to entice people to respond to you a certain way. You're gonna get the smoke.
Everybody knows Philly fans. If you want to mess with a Philly fan, get ready for some action. Yeah, because everybody knows that. Yeah. Like, and Philly don't have no picks. You from Philly or not. If you not doing what you supposed to do to bring a win for whatever, period, then you gonna feel it. Yeah, they even make the players feel it. Yeah. You know how to be like, y'all know what that, you know what that is. They know that Philly talk, like right. they have no picks.
No doubt. So how was your day though? Let's talk about your day.
I don't know if y'all can hear it, but I got a little, I'm at the end. I'm not contagious, but the junk, like, it's a lot of stuff going around. I just got over a bad respiratory thing. Like, I was down for like 3 days, and I'm pretty healthy, like the way I eat and the vitamins. But this joint was like, we're going to put you down. So I'm drinking my hibiscus tea, my honey, oil of oregano. I'm doing all of what I'm supposed to do, and I feel good today. So I don't have no updates because for the past 3 days, I've been down for the count.
Okay, no doubt. Yeah. So you feeling better now?
A lot better. Good, lot better. I had a nice nap and everything. Okay. What's up with you? How was your day?
It was cool. Everything was great. Everything is cool. It was cool up until somebody decided to mention me. They decided to mention me. So they got to get these verbal hands.
I gotta hear. I want to see what this is.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Like this?
I mean, I like a healthy debate.
Yeah, I know.
I like to see a healthy debate, especially between intellects. Yeah. Like, all right, what you gonna bring? Well, and then if you could put some wittiness in there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah,
no, for sure. I mean, it's all in good fun. Shout out to the gentlemen. Shout out to those who are fans of Nelly, Snoop, and everybody else that's out there that I'm sure that you'll be talking about in a minute. Give a round of applause. Give a round of applause, class lady Spark.
That means you just let us in on whatever that banter is. Oh, I really want to hear this.
Yeah, okay. No doubt. Right. Abona Hagen said, what time we get it? We get off air at 10 o'clock, my brother. I think if you want to come through, come on down. It's fine. We could talk a little. We could chat a little bit. I actually want you to come down to the show next week. I think we got a spot for you. But you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come to the show, my brother. We could talk a little bit. But I don't want you guys to go anywhere. When we come back, it's almost about 8:30, right? And we have a gentleman coming on, so we probably won't get to good news and bad news just yet. Well, we'll hold off on it, right?
Okay.
Then when you do good news and bad news,
then you'll talk.
Then
I'll
talk about my little rant
that
somebody decided to mention my name, and it was cool. Okay. It was all in good fun.
All right. You got receipts?
It wasn't disrespectful. Yeah, I got receipts.
Okay. I got receipts. See it.
It wasn't disrespectful, y'all. So don't get mad. This is all in fun.
We down with you, but we all. I'm also gonna be like very vocal on who I think was probably right.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Give you a round of applause, class ladies. Round of applause. So let me see, 8:24. So let's put on one of our young youth who we have been working with. They've been doing some dynamic work as it relates to news.
See, love the kids.
I love the kids, yeah. So use Civic News. And this young lady, Willow, interviewed her Pop, I think it Pop or Uncle.
Her Papa.
Her Papa.
Yes.
And she did an amazing job, and you prepared her for that, right?
I did. I worked with these.
Talk a little bit about it. Yeah.
These young reporters, specifically, I worked with the young ladies. The guys were really behind the cameras. I did work with them on the reporting side, but the journalism side, specifically with Willow was very shy. She was one of those girls who whisper when she talks, and she wasn't like thinking outside of the box. If you ask her a question like, well, what do I say? After I was about to say, child, after I was finished with her and her, I mean, when I say I finished with her, she was already where she needed to be, meaning it was already in her. Just like any plant, once you water it, give it sunlight, talk to it, it starts to flourish. And it's already going to flourish what beauty is there. That's what Willow did. Yeah. Willow was able to start flourishing. She started to have her, her information. Lauren Sizzle was right there. I'm learning from Lauren based on Lauren having her Master of Journalism. And we worked with these young ladies, and they made us proud. So we were some proud aunties up in there looking and just beaming at their success. So, I'm interested to see what Willow has up. So are you going to play the clip?
Yeah, I'm gonna play the clip right now. Obama said, thanks for next week. He's going to stop by next week, and can he post a few links? You absolutely can. Feel free to. One of the things that we say on the show is not only once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, but the show is for the community, right? And so we understand that the community isn't a community of monoliths, right? Everyone doesn't think the same. Everyone doesn't always agree about certain things, but you're still a part of the community, and you have to accept accept that, right? And so we have open dialogue, and we have contrasting opinions oftentimes. And, the goal is to find a solution, right? Our show is solutions based, right? And so we understand that we can point fingers all day at problems or issues, but it's about how do we fix those issues and problems, right? And so that's what We Talk Weekly is. And so absolutely, my brother, post your links, let us know, send me something, send me whatever, but you definitely come down to the show next week. And so without further ado, let's go into Lil Willow. Shout out to Willow for this. This is young Willow, a youth reporter for Youth Civic News, a spinoff for We Talk Weekly, our youth program. Take a look at this. Shout out to the twins.
Hi, I'm Willow Jordan with Youth Civic News, and I'm here with my grandfather,
Willie Jordan.
And G-Pop, what brings you out tonight?
Well, I'm here to discuss the importance of the election that's coming up, and the important of responsibility that we have to do is get out to vote.
What is your role?
I wear many hats, but one is a community activist, and that means to keep people aware and make them informed on the issues of the day, so they can come out and make a good choice on voting for the right candidates.
What are some of the issues you see?
Housing, education, transportation. There's a lot of things. Anything that we do in our lives has to do with elections, politicians, elected officials making those decisions. The amount of time that you stay in school and the amount of days you stay in school is based on what some elected official came up with.
How important is it to vote?
It is very important. It's not just important, it's responsible. Voting is not a selfish activity. It's a selfless. You vote to help others. So as you help others, people help you, and it'll be a better world, a better city, a better country to live in.
Where do some of your beliefs come from?
Well, my belief is based on, I would first come from my home training. My parents told me the importance of civic responsibility, caring, loving, sharing, being involved, being responsible on your actions.
Is there any positive knowledge you would give to the people who don't vote?
I would tell them, if they can't come up with a reason why they should vote for themselves, come up with a reason why they should vote for someone else, for their parents, for their children, for more street lights, how they want a better community. Do it for someone else.
I'm Willow Jordan, reporting from Youth Civic News, and I'm here with my grandfather, Willie Jordan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Little Willow, round of applause for that. Did an excellent job.
She did.
She did an excellent job. It's exciting to see the process that they go through in developing their stories, right? Mm-hmm. And so for those who don't know, so We Talk Weekly taught a 12-week class called Youth Civic News, and it was to engage young reporters to get them the understanding of what research looks like when developing stories, right? And so we talked a lot about fake news, false information. Mm-hmm. We talked about media literacy. Yeah. We talked about the technical side of it, and it's 12 weeks. And we'll probably do another one.
Yeah.
Ages, what was the ages? I can't remember.
Like 14 to 18.
14 to 18, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also to learn about the camera.
Yeah, that's right.
Assistant director, producer, different terms. And also civics. Yeah,
also civics, mm-hmm. right? And so they create their beat. They understand the beat. They sat down with Lawrence Sizzle, and Lawrence Sizzle was able to give a discussion based around defining terms as it relates to their beats and understanding beats and news and things of that nature. And they picked it up really fast. Mm-hmm. And they was able to start understanding what beat they wanted to do,
right?
Research, write their story. Right, newsworthy story, and edit and put it out. Right, and we didn't do anything. We just supported them, and they did all the work, right? So I'm super excited about that. So I don't want you guys to go anywhere. When we come back, we have a gentleman with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. We waited for Mom Dukes to come on, right?
That's right.
So yeah, we love the community. This is what we do, and I want y'all to stay tuned because after we do good news and bad news, I got to get somebody these hands. So I just I just want y'all to hold tight. They're gonna get a little mouthful. It's all in good fun though. But right now, it's always about the civics. It's the civic conversation, and let's put on Ella, another person from our Youth Civic News. Dynamic talent. Dynamic information, did a lot of great work, but we're going to bring in our interview, and we'll be right back after this show. Holla.
News, reporter Ella presents a new recipe that can help feed the community. Over to you, Ella.
Thanks, Willow. Now that fall is upon us, what's not a better way to start the fall season than an easy and simple recipe? Pumpkin bread is the most delicious and easiest food you can make for yourself, family and friends, and your community. Take a look. Today we're going to make pumpkin bread, so make sure you screenshot this recipe and let's get started. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees. In one of your bowls, mix your flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, and pumpkin pie spice. With your fork, mix. Now with your second bowl, mix your sugar, oil, and applesauce with a whisk. Once everything is mixed together, add your pumpkin and mix again. When everything is mixed evenly, combine both mixtures together. Make sure you scrape everything out so nothing is wasted. Now mix evenly until there's no lumps. After that, you want to set that aside and grab your bread pan. Lather some butter all around and add a little flour and spread it around until it looks like this. Now you want to pour the bread batter into the bread pan. Make sure you scrape everything out so nothing is wasted. Cut a line in the middle and it's ready for the oven. Make sure you are oven mitts and let the bread bake for 60 minutes. Once the 60 minutes is up, take it out of the oven and let it sit for a few minutes. When the bread pan is safe to touch, use a straight edge to separate the pan and bread. This step is optional, but if you would like, slice the bread into thick slices and it should look something like this. You are all done. Dig in and enjoy your pumpkin bread. This pumpkin bread is the perfect way to feed your family, friends, and your community. Willow, what did you think about this recipe?
I think that this recipe is perfect for the rising fall weather. Substituting the egg with the applesauce is a great option for others with an egg allergy.
Thanks, Willow. I'm Ella Guanzon reporting for Youth Civic News. Back to you, Willow.
Round of applause for our young reporter, Ella, in the building, right? Super excited about these young kids, these young, this is the new generation out there. We have to support them and help them through the process. The things that we already know, we have to make it a little easier to get through the door. Stop making these kids jump the hoops that we already did. We did it so they didn't have to do that. So we supposed to walk them through it, right? And so without further ado, this is a segment that I absolutely love. And why do I love this segment? Because it's the interviews. I get to interview the good old folks, right? We listen to some of the things that they're doing and have a good old time. So without further ado, classy lady, who do we have today?
I am glad to announce that today we have Michael OBrien. Michael OBrien is the founder of Human Nature and the Wealth and Work Futures Lab at Drexel University. Champions humanities-centered innovation and organizations in economic development. Michael integrates developmental science, neuroscience, and equity-driven strategies to foster thriving communities. Y'all already know what to do. Give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Mr. Michael OBrien.
Hey, how are you?
Thank y'all for having me. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a good weekend. It's warm today.
It's finally, right?
Finally.
It's supposed to be a snowstorm tomorrow.
Right?
But at least today was like 45.
Yeah.
It really was. I was excited about the day. I was able to get through the streets without worrying about too much, right? All the snow have you slipping and sliding,
I was going to say I love the snow. I don't love the snow. I love hot, but I think that when we get cold weather, it makes a lot of things die off.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of germs that just die off with very, cold temperatures.
Yeah, true.
Transitions, right?
That's it. Yeah. Okay. And you're familiar with transitions.
Yeah, lots of them.
Because y'all have to do a lot of strategies. That's
excellent segue.
Good job. I see why you do this.
Go ahead, see?
Excellent segue. You know, and so since we're there, shout out to the Eagles. I got to shout out the Eagles again. But since we're there, let's go Birds. Let's give a round of applause for the Birds. And so since we're talking about transitions and just new beginnings, right? Let's talk a little bit about your organization and how it even started. But before that, how did you get into the work that you're doing?
Yeah, no, fantastic question. And again, thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate the space to share what the team and I are working on and all the things. So Human Nature was really birthed out of years of learning and years of trying to figure out why was it so hard to center humans and their humanity in any of the work that was taking place. That I saw, that I participated in. To be really specific, I was working in emergency housing for families back in 2007. I feel like I'm dating myself. I turned 40 this year, actually.
That's a
good round of applause for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Milestones. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So back in 2007, I was introduced to the science of trauma. Right? It's called trauma theory. It's where trauma-informed care, trauma-informed practice comes from. These terms have become real popular now. Back then, nobody really knew what they were, and a lot of the focus was on the science of how what happens to humans shifts how you see the world, how you behave, how you predict your way through the world even. And what you learn to expect and how you manage expectations of the world at large. When I say the world at large, I mean the big systems we're in, the closest relationships you're in, all of it. And I just found in my role there as a youth case manager that, if a young person in the shelter was involved in 3 or 4 different systems, those public systems treated the family as if they had 3 or 4 different children with that one child. Wow. And so that really birthed for me this quest of like curiosity and learning that turned into the practice of trying to help people learn how to use science and design to center humans and their humanity in whatever intervention, prevention, program, like whatever you're designing for people, how do you put them at the center and really make their needs present, right?
Right. Wow. You said something about the science of it. Have you ever heard the term epigenetics?
Yeah.
So do you think that epigenetics, and tell us what epigenetics is for people who don't know,
boy.
and how that it's not DNA changing, but it's environmental. So tell us.
Oh, you've been doing your reading. Yeah, I'm with it.
So tell us about epigenetics and how that.
So epigenetics are this is I try my best to be translational, right? So I take big old science concepts and make it real easy. Oh, there's a video. That's great. So I'm going to be super simple and this isn't perfect science, but you'll get the point. The demonstration is the point. So let's say this circle is, we'll call it like your genome package. It's got your DNA in it, that double helix looking thing that we all have seen. And then there are a bunch of other things in the package, though. Yeah. There are other proteins and things called alleles, and there's a bunch of stuff in there that together with the DNA itself, they're going to work together to facilitate a number of processes. What we have learned over time through varying groups of people, through looking at what's happened to them and looking at generations after really big things like a famine hits a large group of population of folks, what we've seen is that there are changes in the package that don't alter the DNA, but it's altering the things around it essentially that affect how the DNA performs, how it does its job. And effectively what you can have is the experience of it being as if something is wrong with the DNA. And so you do have these different types of issues that can arise for a person physiologically, et cetera, that again, to your point earlier, it's not changing, the situation didn't change the DNA, right? But the emotional environment, the things happening in the physical environment, all these things. So this is why stress is such a problem, right? these things, and particularly in utero, when a birthing person, a person that can give birth, is pregnant and there's a ton of stress present, there's a lot.
Say that one more time.
Yeah,
Say
heavy.
that one more time, please.
So when a person who can give birth is pregnant and is experiencing stressors chronically while the baby is in utero, or in the womb, there's a lot of research there about the complications it can create for the baby and for subsequent generations. Particularly, you think about it. I learned this from some other really wise folks, that a woman is born, or a cisgendered woman is born with all of the eggs she'll ever have.
Yeah.
So
from the grandmother, I
right?
think.
So
yep.
grandma having a child born female in the womb. Like I was in my grandma.
Yes.
As
absolutely.
an egg,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And so were you. So were all of us, right?
Yes.
So
People don't realize that
these things. So we're unpacking what it means. And I remember when I was first introduced to this science some years ago, we're still trying to get our minds around it and learn from it. Luckily, the field has progressed. There's some really great books out there. I don't know them off the top of my head, but if you even just go to TED.com, there's a fantastic TED Talk that a researcher, an author a scientist gives on epigenetics. It's worth looking into for sure. I'm so glad you asked that question.
Awesome.
Interesting. I mean, that has me stunned. I didn't even anticipate going that deep into it, and I think that's interesting as it relates to even how we look at our own communities, how the communities develop, right?
Absolutely.
Because we, to a degree, already have some trauma to us.
Yeah.
Right. And so, if we do know this, right, how do we not necessarily remedy, because all of this can't be fixed per se, right? But there is some soothing that we can do, or some, supports that we can give, resources to ease the traumas of the community that we're in. And so I would love for you to take a stab at that, peel back those layers in context to your study or your field of school.
Yeah, so human nature, and the reason we focus on people's work lives, people spend a huge portion of their lives at work, right? Yeah. There are families where people will see their work colleagues more than they'll see their children on a regular basis, right? And you can spend so much time at work and no one has put in deep thought. I won't say no one, that's a little too much of a global whole. Very few people have put in deep thought, particularly take that epigenetics thing and think about it in terms of, again, the social and emotional environment as much as the physical environment are having impacts on you and your well-being and children and their well-being and descendants, et cetera. How often have we thought about the amount of stressors present in a work environment for different people based on their identities and based on the varying life challenges they're bringing to the table because of the way life fell out for them, right? We don't think about that. We don't talk about that. And what stresses one person doesn't naturally travel to the next. So as an example, I'm a cisgender male. That means I was born male and I agree with the gender I was assigned at birth, and I identify that way. Right. I did not know that women, trans folks, non-binary folks have tactics for keeping themselves safe on the street when they walk, like putting their keys in between their fingers, because we've created a society where particularly cisgender men can visit violence upon lots of people as just like they're right almost, right? I didn't know that kind of stressor existed for people that weren't like me, just walking down the street, right? And that's just one example of the way identity and stress have this really interesting and dynamic relationship. So you put that in the workplace and you have to think about race, gender, class, being differently abled in any kind of way, and how much people are not considered or considered. So those experiences are stressful. They can also introduce trauma. So we try to help people better attune to the humanity of folks. First, you got to sensitize people to their own humanity and then the humanity of others, and then start on the process of what does it mean to design environments where people can thrive and do well. At the lab, we look at other places besides work. To your point, thinking about neighborhoods and communities, one of the research projects we have right now looks at what's called longitudinal data. So we're looking at about 43 years worth of data around the experience of the death of a sibling or parent over a 43-year period. And we have two big data sets, one up to the age of 18, and then one where those experiences happen up to the age of 24. Wow. For 40 plus years, Black people have disproportionately experienced the loss of a parent or sibling by the age of 18, and then again by the age of 24. There's no way, we've not organized what that means. We've not asked enough questions about what that means for a young person who is developing and transitioning from young adulthood to adulthood, trying to find work in a world where $7.25 is still a wage that we say is okay for people, right? So there's a lot to unpack there, but the first thing you got to do is be able to organize the problem contextually and properly and frame it properly to then organize and design your way towards the best solutions. And we think those solutions are best designed with the people experiencing the issue in real time and who have historical touch points with it.
I've heard that that children from inner city, young children to at least, young adulthood, have probably experienced more trauma than people who went off to war or in the military that didn't go to war, but they've experienced it based on losing friends, from gun violence, from household and all of that. Tell us what your organization, and give us an example of how you unpeel to help with your organization, those type of families.
Yeah, so one of the things that we believe in is anti-gaslighting, right? There are, so I'll take a step back. The economist Dr. Raj Chetty, he's out of Harvard, runs a research institute there called Opportunity Insights. 10 years ago, he did some landmark research looking at economic mobility, looking at the 50 largest metropolitan areas in the country. Did a refresh of that data set, and Philadelphia is now 50 out of 50 for economic mobility for the age group of folks who are roughly, I want to say this is a loose quote, somewhere between 33 and 34 and about 46 to 48. So in my generation, I'm 39. And when you look at our experiences, I think about the amount of gaslighting and the amount of lies, narratives that have been put into media space and never corrected. So think about the crack epidemic, everything about crack babies, everything about who did it and why, et cetera. Tons of narratives went out there into media space. And when they were proven to be not true, no one corrected it.
100, yes. Yeah, let me give you a round of applause for
Thank
that.
you.
Yes, and because I want you to continue. I just want to put a small speed bump there, because that's one of the things that we talk about all the time as it relates to media literacy, right? And understanding what messages are being put out there.
Absolutely.
And how to discern, do your own research to find out, well, is there intention behind why they're putting out some of those images and messages and a rhetoric that follows that?
Absolutely. And there are research articles. I'm actually digging, looking for more, but I found one that came out roughly early 2000s that looked at the non-correction in the 90s around the crack epidemic and all of the fake, I don't want to call it fake,
misinformation.
All of the misinformation, thank you, all of the misinformation. And so I'm really interested in digging through, how much have we tracked this with other narratives that have impacted Black folks, migrants, pick any other excluded group, and let's dig in and see, have we corrected anything? And so one of the things we work on, we have a media fellowship program for 18 to 26-year-olds. Let's get new narratives out there, and let's also use media and the ways in which young people and even emerging adults and older but younger adults, the ways they like to consume information and learn, let's get this information out there. Let's correct the record, and then let's also share all of this new science about healing, about resilience, about what it takes. Because if we believe that everybody is going to have access to a therapist to heal, we've known for decades we don't have enough supply. It's a human capital thing, right? Talent, supply, and demand. We don't have enough clinicians for the whole population in the country, let alone Black clinicians or clinicians who speak multiple languages to address everybody else.
Or understand nuance.
Right? Absolutely.
Right, absolutely, yes.
So there are other ways to heal, which Black people have actually been invested in, Indigenous Americans have been invested in for centuries, because before there was the technical role of a therapist who was allowed to even treat people not of their own race, we were still healing through enslavement and genocides. So there are ways of healing and knowing that we can get back to. A lot of it's in arts and culture. It's in being connected to community. It's in, again, this thing around anti-gaslighting, the kind of stress you can alleviate from a family or a person's shoulders by just saying, I hear you and I am bearing witness to the reality of your existence and your suffering. For some people, that first cry from that is so cathartic.
Yes.
Because you've been told and gaslit for so long, and you just keep chugging away like, oh, I guess I'm okay, I guess I'm okay, I guess I'm okay, and you're about to pop.
I think one of the things that Black folk has a challenge with is not that we don't like X, Y, and Z. It's the fact that you just won't acknowledge. Once you acknowledge it, then we're okay. You can come to the cookout, right? Well, not really, but it's about saying, yes, I was wrong. I did this. This has actually happened. Now we can move forward.
I think also, and it impacted you.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Like what I'm expressing to you, I think about how Black women often in medical situations are literally gaslit. There's this fantastic clip I've used in some of our workshops in experiential learning sessions for organizations of a doctor is talking about a Black woman who was coming in for one thing, but she was animated or whatever the language is, right? And so people kind of was like, all right, here comes the kind of hysterical lady, the hypochondriac, blah, 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 blah. And they're trying to get her to like half calm down every time she comes in. And this one time the doctor is like, no, she keeps like heard her differently for the first time and was like, wait, she keeps complaining about X and Y. She's coughing, she's grabbing her heart. Get this woman an EKG. Gets her an EKG and finds out she's having a series of small mini heart attacks. And was like, oh God, she literally was not making that up. She was saying the truth and expressing her pain and showing it. But for whatever reason, how we were culturized, if you will, how we were socialized, that information was not coming in a way that I could receive, that woman could receive, right? And I think that kind of thing happens across multiple identities in varying ways, which can make it very hard to try to get to solutions, right?
That's right.
It's particularly in public policy, working with foundations, et cetera. You can have the best of intentions and still miss it.
I worked in healthcare for 30 years. I've been a victim of that as well as have viewed it. So I've definitely seen it. But I also want to ask you, when you were speaking about the way that the media delivers information, one, I think that the newer generation with TikTok, I think that a lot of things are starting to be like more learned about when it comes to mental health, when it comes to history. So that kind of new wave has been, and we'll talk more about that in good news and bad news about what TikTok banned. But I wanted to ask you this, and maybe it's just me, but do you think that as far as news delivery, news is always highlighting everything horrible, bad, because it brings in more.
If it bleeds, it leads, as they say.
Yes. If it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah. So do you think that may be like a setup in regards to even trauma that you're bringing into to your households?
it's a little bit of chicken and egg, right?
Okay.
You know
Which
what I
came
mean?
first?
Well, so what I mean by that is this, right? Like there are a ton of really not good things happening. There are a ton of good things happening. Unfortunately, a lot of the not so good things happening do outweigh the good things happening. And what I mean by that, though, I want to get into the nuance. We do focus on specific groups, however, and they're not so good things.
Okay.
So
That highlighted
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, because public policy has some not so good things happening. The private sector has not so good things happening. The black community, but so does the white community. So does it. Like every community has not so good things, so many good things happening, right? And but there are groups whose stuff is put on blast and on pedestals more than others. I think that then does feed a certain kind of stress level. I think it does feed a certain type of reorganization of self and views on communities. But some of that would be happening anyway just because of the prevalence of what's present already, right? Like the thing, and I'll just be very specific about this here. There are certain communities I've worked in for multiple years where the median income is like $15,000 a year. There's going to be a lot of bad stuff happening.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean bad as in like judgment call bad. I just mean like, and I'll be really clear about my language, not bad, harmful things that are just going to take place because you cannot, with $15,000, possibly build health into your family life in the way that you want to. And that doesn't, and I think people should be able to define healthy the way they want to, as long as it means no harm. You know what I mean? Like, other than that, like, define it how you want. But even with that definition, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that it's a tricky balance. But what I'll say, it's like, what the media is doing is just pouring gasoline on a thing that's already kind of out of control, while not highlighting the things that could help promote people to want to be able to, because I don't even think it's that they don't want to be able to see and imagine some other ways of handling conflict or other ways of being.
Yeah, I won't totally blame legacy media, but I do believe that's the problem. Why it's also important to have media outlets like ours, hyper-local, that's truly in the communities and can say that, hey, no, there are some problems or some issues that's going on here that's not being seen or spoken about. So here's an amplification for it, and someone can truly say, oh, maybe I didn't know. Giving you a pass to a degree. I didn't know. Now you know. Now what you're going to do. Now you held responsible for it, right?
Right.
And to that point, we go into the community conversation and then talk the civics piece, right? So one of the questions that I always ask is, one, how do you define civics, right? And in the context of what you do, how do you pull that idea of civics within that conversation? Yeah.
I think it's a good question. I'm a nerd. You probably picked up on that. I wear it proudly. I use, because we speak English, I tend to go to the Oxford English Dictionary to help settle some arguments.
The Queen's Speech.
Yeah. You know, well, I mean, people like to be like, well, I think this means that, I think this means that. I'm like, well, okay, listen. The first place we're going to start with is the record.
That's right.
So that, like I do this with equity all the time, right? People are like, oh, I need to. I'm like,
talk about it. That's right.
I
love it. Yeah.
OED says the state of being fair and impartial.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful in itself.
Yes.
Because if there's anything what this country has clearly not been is impartial.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's actually
hence, let's make America great again, right? No, let's not go there.
But here's the deal. You know what? I don't mind going there because we are in Pennsylvania, and I think there are so many ripe things there, right? Because there's something, to the point around media literacy, there is something diabolical at play when rural, poor white folks have an awakening that they might be closer in economic experience to the migrants and poor black people in Philadelphia. I think it's actually it's its own kind of ironically beautiful awakening that I think can be energizing.
Okay.
Because the reality is that's the truth.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? And you see it play out in actually what happened with public education, where the lawyers who were defending the Republicans in court with the landmark case around fair funding said to one of the superintendents out in Western PA, where it is a much more rural space, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but like, isn't education's job to prepare people for the jobs that are available around them? So that's Pizza Hut and like McDonald's here, right? And like, and this is all in record in the papers, right? Sure. So wouldn't you say you're doing that? I mean, just like make it plain, make it plain, make it clear, right? And so I do think these things are linked, they're important, and there's an opportunity for learning in this moment that's different than the other. And this all gets back to this definition around civics, right? Which is the study, OBD says, the study of government and the rights and responsibility of citizens.
That's right.
Everything I just talked about fits 100%. Squarely into that definition. So for us, and particularly with the media program with the young folks, one of my pushes on with them, they pick some themes around grief and loss. Okay. In fact, they coined this term I love, grief paralysis. As what their age group is experiencing. Again, these are 18 to 26-year-olds. This is what they're experiencing as they're transitioning to adulthood, to emerging adulthood, and the workforce as the resources beneath them just bottom out. And they kept talking to me about why and what, and I said, did you know where you really got to go? Like, for a moment, don't pay attention to voting yet. Okay. Let's pay attention to the budget. How is that budget aligned to your well-being? How does that budget address 43 years of disproportionate grief and loss in your community? How does that budget attune to the fact that you don't have the resources to grieve properly? I've worked with so many people that don't have tombstones for dead loved ones. Like, there's just so much there to unpack, and that's just the death part. There are so many other types of losses that are also present and compounded for them. And the question we have to ask, and this isn't an indictment on anybody in council, whatever, unfortunately, we have the budget that we have, right? Council's coming in to help manage the thing, essentially, for lack of a better term, manage. And same with the administration, but the city deals with the fact at large that no matter who's in charge, the budget is kind of small.
So can someone argue or attribute that to voting, the argument that you need to vote for someone to fight for more funding or a bigger budget, so to speak? Can you argue that?
Oh, it's complicated. I mean, you could. So yes, right? It just gets real complicated because city budgets, and I'm not an expert here, right? I'm learning alongside the young people, and we're talking to people all across the country to keep learning and growing together. One way you do that, or the major way, is taxes. Right, but we are in a fight around that.
Yeah, I was about to say,
right?
Do we further tax the poor?
What? I'm gonna be so. I'll say it like this. There are ways in which larger institutions could pay taxes.
Absolutely.
And this is a conversation that's been happening around pilots, right? Payments in lieu of taxes. So one group of people says, no, they need to pay taxes. The others say, no, they don't need to pay taxes. They can do pilots. For the sake of today, I'm not going to get involved with that conversation. What I am going to say is that the city budget can't handle the needs here. We are 50 out of 50 in economic mobility.
That's wow.
And Black people here are disproportionately experiencing that. Hispanic folks, Latinx folks are disproportionately experiencing that. Women in both of those groups experiencing that even harsher. Roger's work does point out that Black men are experiencing a certain kind of harshness when it comes to economic mobility. Yes. Even when they break out, they have a humongous chance and likelihood of falling back into poverty and having all of that erased So I don't want to put a number around the chance. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I've heard him talk about this a bunch. So I can at least say that much to be true, that there's that is a thing. So we've seen these data point to, let me be clearer for folks too, why I pointed out Black women and Hispanic or Latina women is when you look at something called occupational segregation, which looks at, it's research the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia did, looking at the usage of public dollars within the workforce system. Just to be brief, there are disparities there. Wow. On average, white men are getting pipelined to jobs that pay about $5,000 more per year, and there are clusters of jobs that are lower paying that Black women and Latinx women are getting pipelined to. And we have to deal with these realities. They're uncomfortable, but we're not going to address economic mobility without, again, framing the problem accurately, learning as much as we can, not just from these big data sets that can show us those trends. You got to talk to people and understand what is the experience like of being there? Because the map is not the territory, right? A map will give your mind some mental model representation, but a river as a squiggly line on a map, you can use that to help you get to the river. But once you're at the river, you got to actually look at it and take it in to understand, because it's not the same as crossing a little squiggly line on the map, right? And it's that kind of metaphor for where we're at in the sense making therein. So we need politicians locally, nationally, at the state level, et cetera. We need politicians that are going to partner with us in that kind of learning and try to figure out what is it that we can do differently and collectively. And then sometimes on certain issues, the hands are kind of tied because the stuff is complex, and there are other spaces where there might be some innovation to be had.
Wow. You said a lot. That's a lot to unpack. And I agree. I agree. Full stop. I agree. I think city council is doing what they can. There is some room to do more. There is some room. A lot more. There is some room to do more, because I won't discount the great work that I have seen, personally seen, right? And we're really heavy with holding people accountable, and at the same time asking for their vote, right? So if you want them to vote for you, we would like you to do certain things for the community that you're asking for voting, and not just seeing you during the time that you're campaigning, right? And so that's a problem there. But I agree. It's just super layered, and I like that there's a conversation that's happening now to start to peel back those layers, all right, to have different trains of thought. Because if one is a fool for what they don't know, right? So if they don't understand the different dynamics, right, and even a deeper pedagogy to have, then they can't do anything to fix it, right? And so us leading with solutions, it always starts there. Okay, this is the barrel of issues. What can we do? Let's start with the first apple. How can we fix that, right? Two things can happen at the same time. Amazing conversation. That time went just that quick.
It did. Thank you.
Hopefully, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hopefully, Mom was okay with that. And so, why don't you, real quick, talk a little bit more about your organization and how they can find you and some of the great work that you're doing. And you got to promise that you come back, because I think there's more conversation that needs to be had around.
Thank you. I would love to come back. I appreciate the space that you are holding for these complex conversations. Right, because again, we got to partner with our politicians. We got to partner with the private sector. We got to partner with everybody, community. We got to figure this out. Because we can't stay being 50 out of 50. That just sounds like more dead kids. You know what I mean? And I don't want that, right? So you can find us on the web at www.humannature.works. That's human nature with one N. So HUMANATURE .works with the S on the end, because humannature.com is about $15,000.
Oh,
It's
geez.
considered prime digital real estate. I didn't even know that was a thing until I went to buy it 7 years ago. I was like, what? So anyway, that's where you can find us there. And again, we're actually doing some work right now around this issue with occupational segregation and partnering with the Commerce Department for the City of Philadelphia, Philadelphia Works, and the Chamber of Commerce. So that's what I mean. The people are stepping to the table to do the work. And they've already been doing the work. This is just complex stuff. And we got to keep, to your point, peeling back the layers and the onion.
That's right.
The other side of the work at Drexel, so that's the Wealth and Work Futures Lab. You can Google it. We have a landing page at Drexel. Our website will be up soon. It's my fault. I will own that because my team will watch this, and I love them, and it is me and the copy. So I'm going to get out of their way by the end of this week, and we're going to have that website up. But those two things. And then I'm Michael OBrien. You can find me on LinkedIn, on Instagram. Thank you so much.
You know what? Just real quick, I want to know, because you're a wealth of knowledge, and I think you have a lot to give to the world, right?
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. This is conversations that we need to have constantly in the nuances, and I don't think we have enough of that. But I want to know, what would be the legacy that you feel like you would like to leave?
That's so funny. I just answered the same question for generosity in an article that I was able to, my personal legacy.
Yeah, your personal legacy. Yeah.
Because I always think about my team, because nothing happens by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I
always
mean?
say
Like
it's team.
Yeah. All these lone entrepreneur stories. I'm like, that's a person that didn't really start a business, so they're just lying. One of the two.
So let's do that then.
Yeah.
Let's do that then, because let's talk about your team, like the team and the organization that you put. What would be the legacy you would like for that to leave?
That other people could pick up our work wherever we've left it off. Wherever we left it off, and continue pushing forward. I'm standing on the shoulders of so many giants, named and unnamed, and I think it's my responsibility. That's why I started building these in a particular kind of way, from the advice and guidance of some elders, right? The work should outlive us. The work should be larger than us. I'm comfortable with us just being a footnote in the larger story and not the story, you know what I mean? And I think for me personally, I would love for people to say two things about me when I transition, because we're all ancestors making our way to that journey and that point. One, Michael was a nerd, but God, that guy was funny. He could make me laugh. And the other being that he really was able to help widen the lens of human concern. And I think about that with the team too, because again, I can't do that by myself. It's the team, it's the products, it's the learnings, it's the way we capture it, it's the way that lives on with all the fellows and the programs and the young people we work with, like that we were able to keep pushing at the edges, coming back to the middle and telling everyone, look, there's more space. And then we run back to the edge and push more and come back and go, oh my God, there's more space again. So that's it.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
So real quick, do you know a Cheryl O'Brien?
That is my.
You gotta give her a shot. She said, yes, bring him back. Give her I give Mom a round of applause.
That is my mama. I love her. Thank you, Mom.
And that's, before you go, very briefly, because I know we have another guest too.
Yes.
What made you get into this field?
Yeah.
Like, what was that pivotal moment?
Actually, so I was fortunate to go to a performing arts high school that changed my life back in Hartford, Connecticut.
Nice.
And I'm open about this story. My mom survived foster care. She's given me permission to share these stories. And my mother was an opportunity youth, and all the things and terms that we disconnected youth, the things we talk about now, that had no designation back then, and no one really cared that much about those young people the way that, and I'm not saying we care that much now, but it's a little bit more care, right? And so I grew up the child of a young person who was disconnected and figuring it out. And so she sacrificed a lot, and art made a major difference in my life. And people surrounded me with love and care and art. And my mom did, but others did. And I did this program called Looking in Theater that really changed my life, because what it did, it taught me, I didn't know this, but it was teaching me how to be a designer. It was teaching me about human-centered design. It was teaching me about how, it was the best humanitarian education I could get, how to not make caricatures out of issues that people experience in the people themselves. And so just really quickly, it's a teen theater troupe that makes up scenes about any issue a teenager could face. Interracial dating, eating disorders, bullying, coming out of the closet, being trans. I mean, you need whatever a young person, parents using, being, suffering from addiction, the kids suffering from addiction, racism. I mean, you name it. Sexual abuse, physical abuse, whatever they could experience, we wrote scenes on. But the way that we wrote the scenes, you do the training over the summer in your initial cohort, and you get these topics in the first week, and you do some improving. And then you would get critiques back from your facilitators and trainers. And then, but you wouldn't get critiques on like, did you portray the issue well or not? Because the next thing they did was have these guest speakers come in that you could interview, and you talk to people who lived through those issues and survived. You talk to the people who were professionals that worked on those issues, and you talk to their family members. So by the end of all that, you then redid the scenes. Wow. When I tell you that was the most life-changing thing, because I was like, damn, I did not know how to center anyone's humanity. And that started me on that journey, and then it's just been a successive learning journey everywhere else I went, and that's what did it.
Fantastic, fantastic. Shout out to Mom again. Mom says she loves you, darling. Give a round of applause for Mom real quick. She holding you down.
She is.
We love the moms over here. We love the moms over here.
And thank you for what y'all are doing and holding down here in Philly, really, honestly. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're doing the work. We're trying to do the work out here. And again, one thing we say on the show is once you come to the show, you're always welcome. You're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. So we'll make sure that we'll schedule some time for you to come back whenever you're available.
Absolutely.
Because I think I want to start bringing you on more consistently, because I believe that you hold that piece of that filling knowledge that's necessary to start to have those deeper conversations.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I appreciate that.
So there you have it. She said, love the hat. Mom said, love it. Let me come back to my hat. Thank you. I appreciate you, Mom. We love it. Bird gang, bird gang, bird gang. Appreciate you, Mom. And so I don't want you guys to go anywhere. When we come back, we got Coffee in the building. Coffee Iman. And hopefully I said her name actually correctly, and we don't want you guys to go anywhere. We had a dynamic. This was a great discussion. Really appreciate that. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and we got more conversations to happen. But now we going to Class Lady Sparkle. I think you're gonna like this. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
We just want to get a little background as to who the Fantastic Noise is and the noisemakers, if you can let us know.
Yes, absolutely. So once again, I am Fantastic Noise. I am the original noisemaker, so no one's going to make as much noise as me, okay? And right here we have the Noisemaker Band. This is only half of it. The other stuffs are upstairs. My Kevin Lamar, Lonnie, and Dobbs, who are the actual band members. These are the background singers. And we came to make some noise. We came to bring that noise today. That's what we trying to do. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you guys get together?
Oh man, so it started with, I've been doing this on my own for almost 3 years now. And man, I guess each of these people here have different background stories. Most of us went to the same church together, and we just kept going. This one, this is one of my assistants here, one of like my biggest supporter, my biggest shooter here. She's an assistant. So we just been building, and the same thing with upstairs with the band, just meeting through people, kept networking, kept seeing, and it was just like God ordained. Bam, here we are.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, could you guys do We Talk Weekly a favor?
Yes.
Can you give us a drop in a melody type way?
Oh, a melody type way?
Yes.
Okay. So We Talk Weekly?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do something like this. We Talk Weekly, come and hear us. We Talk Weekly, come and hear them. 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 Yeah!
See that every time you play that, I just feel like I'm so loud. And I do have my loud moments, but
it's loud and good. It's a loud and good way.
Well, she really just did that. I mean, that was straight off the dome in the heat of the moment. So I was really excited for my sister. All right, so we have someone that you're waiting for, right?
Yes,
you
yeah.
usually be like,
my bad. I'm sorry.
like-
And, we have someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. First of all, Coffee, thanks for your patience. Thanks for your patience. But someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for, classy lady, let us know who do we have today.
I am glad to announce that today we have Coffee Summers, journalist and editor-in-chief of Coffee Magazine. It's dedicated to amplifying emerging entrepreneurs and creatives through storytelling and representation. With extensive media experience, she champions diversity and resilience, shaping platforms that highlight unrepresented voices and foster innovations. Y'all already know what to do. Give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Miss Coffee Summers.
Hi. How you doing?
How are you? Can she hear us?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
How are you?
Fine. How you doing?
All is well. I love your name.
Great. Thank you.
So, where are you at today?
I'm in the Midwest, so it's a little icy. I'm sure you know how it is. It's wintertime, though, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, it was warm today. They were just talking about it. Yeah, we're in the Midwest.
I'm right outside Chicago, so it's a city called Joliet. I'm about 30 minutes from Chicago, yeah.
Oh, y'all real cold. It's gonna get real cold.
Yeah, it's getting cold, but I mean, you used to it. It's like, it's wintertime.
Yeah. Well, Coffee, thank you for your patience backstage. As you can see, we get real into it and everything. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, about Coffee Magazine and how that developed.
I actually started the concept like way back in 2009. And it was a thing where I was kind of like a hip hop head. I like to pick up magazines, but every time you pick up these magazines, you'll get the same people on the cover monthly. And it was like, okay, what about the people behind the scenes? What about the people that are making these celebrities or the people that inspired us make it to this point? Like, who's on their team? And so I was like, I would love to interview like the stylist, the cameraman, the businessman, the PR that make these changes and make these things happen. And so I started there, and I'm here now. I pivoted out of the actual magazine spectrum, and now we do digital interviews and just digital covers.
Oh, nice, wonderful. Well, tell the viewers about the magazine era, because I remember that was an era that I grew up around, which I truly miss. I mean, digital is great, but that was just a time where, you're at the airport and you're like, let me pick up this magazine before I jump on the plane, or if I'm on the bus, the train, wherever. It was just a time. So tell us about that and a lot of the I guess magazines that you were featured in.
Well, I started there. I really love the magazine era. I'm like a field person. I need the book, I need the paper in my hand. So I used to collect different magazines from like XXL, Source, Live, Essence, whatever I can get off the shelf, I was reading. And so I started off doing print with Coffee Magazine, and I really liked it. But of course, since I was a smaller company, you're dealing with prices, you're dealing with different things that you can't match up if you want to mass produce. So right now I pivot into a space where we're going to start offering like a yearly yearbook. So it'll be a coffee table book instead of like the magazine itself, because I don't want to miss out on that. I can keep it for ages. It can sit on my coffee table. I can take it with me when I go, like you said, to the airport or on a trip. It's like, it's a collector's item when you see yourself on the cover. That's how I feel about it.
Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about, because we're in a digital space, right? And I love the idea, first of all, the focus of interviewing the people kind of behind the scenes, right? Because when you talk about your stylists, right? When you talk about just people who are really doing the work, right? Sometimes they don't necessarily get any visibility, right?
Right.
Me understanding as a wardrobe stylist, right? One of the things that we care about the most, I mean, we love the money. Most people don't really have the money to pay us, but it's more specifically, it's about the credit, right? We need our credit. We want our credit. So from the hairstylists, the makeup artists, the costume designers, people in the back, we want our credit. So I love that you started thinking that way. Why is that though? Why did you say, you know what, I want to interview them? What was it that made you or encouraged you to start like that?
Because anytime I like something, I take a deep dive. So like say I was into, let's see who was big back then, maybe Jodeci or something. I'm like, oh, I wonder where they got the boots from. Like I was one of those deep divers. So you couldn't find information back then in those magazines. You could see maybe like the photo cred, who took the photo, but you're trying to search everywhere to find these things. And you're like, okay, why is that? Why do I have to see this? I know the celebrity story. They've told it to us in a couple of magazines, or you see it in different interviews that are on the news, but we never hear anyone else's story. So I know it takes a team, because anytime I tried to do a project, it took a team. And I was like, these stories need to be told, because these people are working on everyone's career. They are the reason in many shapes and forms why these people make it to the next level. So I just thought it would be intriguing to know why they are okay with being that support system. What made them begin? What part of what love they have for each piece that they put together? Because myself, I was a creative, so I used to like to draw, do painting, and I'm like, okay, so does that mean when I start painting and stuff, no one would know my name? It was like the starving artist mentality, where you're like, these people should have a light shine on them as well, because it takes ton of time to complete these projects, not just the finished project. So.
Coffee, tell us how the journey was launching Coffee Magazine from the beginning till now. Like, what challenges did you encounter, and how did that shape who you are and your vision for the publication now?
The biggest challenge was, getting people around you to believe in your vision, because what happens is you're like, I'm the type of person, I come out the gate and I'm excited. So if you share your story, most people tell you other people are not going to be as excited, or they're going to tell you, oh, that's not possible. You need to just get a job. So it was a challenge for me to try to break into entrepreneurship with being raised as in saying you need a job with a pension. You need to be somewhere for 20 years doing the same thing. So that part was like the biggest challenge. Other than that, it was the challenge of believing that I can complete it. So it's like, okay, I got all my pieces, but where do I get the information? How do I find the resources? If I don't personally know anyone who's doing this thing I'm trying to accomplish, will someone help me? Will someone mentor me? How would I gain information? And you can remember back then, if technology wasn't big, you couldn't just Google how to create a magazine. There was no YouTube video on how to create a magazine. So I'm starting everything from scratch without knowing anything or any details about how to take it to another level. So I just decided, well, there's no rules when it comes to being an artist. So I should be able to complete it however I want it to be, however I want it to look, whatever rules I want to apply. And that should be the basis of you being an entrepreneur. This is why you do not want to work in corporate, because you don't want to follow those rules. So I just decided to make my own rules.
Fantastic. I'm sure since you're in the digital space now, I'm sure you cover like red carpets and things of that nature, right? Do you do things like that?
It just hasn't been my main focus.
Okay. All right. One of the conversations that we had a few years back was the absence of black media or smaller black outlets, right? And so there was a video that I guess you could say it went pretty viral as it relates to Halle Berry, her PR kind of rushing her, past a black media outlet, right? In given that context, right, Do you think that now we have a firmer footing, or do you think we have more work to do? Do you think that we are still being kind of boxed out from the conversation between like legacy media outlets? What do you think? Where do you think we stand now, just as media?
I think we are still boxed out to an extent because it just depends on what event you're trying to get to.
Right.
You still have to go through the general screening process of getting to that event. And then I feel as if we still need to do some more networking across. So if it's an event where they're highlighting entrepreneurs, they should allow a set of local media or a set of small media companies to cover those events as well, because these are the people, they're representing the people that are actually making your career pop, your fan base, the general population that's saying you need to be number one in whatever award you're receiving. So I feel like it's going to always be a give and take. Will it change? I don't know. But I feel like as we grow in media and create our own award shows, because that has been an issue as well, that we should be able to kind of bridge that gap and share media spaces. And I mean, we have to change perspectives as well. So if you're used to having only larger media outlets cover you, then you should be willing to, as an artist or someone in the industry, to say, hey, I want to be interviewed by this local or a smaller entertainment or media company, versus saying, well, I've reached this level, I do not want to be interviewed by them.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one. I think Michelle Obama was a great example of that, because a lot of her fashion or things, she knew that she was like a platform. She was like a walking billboard. So she always wanted local fashion designers, local artists to paint her portrait. So I agree. It's like sending the elevator back down. So Coffee, I also want to ask you, because of where the media is evolving with technology and innovation, what is it, and you named something even about the awards, what is it that you or others can do to stay relevant or stay ahead of the curve with the
well, I've started giving out a yearly Entrepreneur of the Year award to people that just submit, and then I have I have people actually vote and then go through another screening process. I feel as if you give everyone an opportunity of 15 minutes. That's like my whole biggest thing. So even though I see smaller media outlets, they always, I won't say everyone, but people will gun for a bigger name. I feel that you should still do like the networking across. You can build a larger fan base and a community if you shine light on those that are actually putting in a ton of work. Not saying that everyone else doesn't put in a ton of work. I'm saying that first bit of grind is feel like a bigger hill to climb for some. So if you give people opportunity to gain more resources, you can, I feel in the digital age, you can stay more relevant. And think about the target audience. I wouldn't focus on numbers, but focus on the people that are supporting you. So if you have 5,000 people that are coming to your site daily, you need to cater to those 5,000 people instead of saying, oh, I need to have 1 million people. But 5,000 people is a lot of people. I don't know 5,000 people personally. So I feel as if you can still keep a shopper keeps mentality and give people what they need, and still be consistent with what you're saying you're going to give them, that your audience and whatever you need will grow over time. But I believe in still keeping it, going back to the basics. You still have to put in general work to gain the trust and the fan base that will carry you 10, 15 years.
I want you to take a listen to this and respond once I read this out for you. One of the shout out to Shanita. One of the viewers has asked the question. She said, yes, but marketing plays a huge part in finding out about a small media company outlet. She then goes on to say it takes more than just networking. What would you say to that?
Yes, I feel you need to show up.
Yeah, there you go. Let me give you a round of applause for that. That's right. That's right.
You can't just sit behind a computer. You have to, that's what I mean by going back to basics. You need to go to these expos. You need to go and support people in those rooms. You need to travel. You need to, if you get a no one time, you need to apply again and get a yes to get to the red carpet. You have to keep working and meeting people and shaking hands. I think the marketing and networking has been changed. They feel like networking means I can send 100 emails and then I'm done. Or marketing means pay for an ad, $500 for that month and then I'm done. No, I don't think that's what it is. I think we have to figure out the new meaning to that word and how much work you need to put in to find your target audience. Because I feel that part has been missed. Yeah. People are just blindly wanting numbers and not marketing to the people that will actually enjoy your product.
Interesting. When did you come to, I guess, the point where you knew who your target audience was, right? I know we've been doing this a while, and we went through a number of different, like, well, we're catering to this, but it's actually, these are the people who's actually watching us, right? So we started, well, it's about them, right? So go ahead, I'll let you talk a little bit.
You have a dream target audience, I would say that.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so then you have a group of people that actually say, no, you have what I need. So I think it takes a lot of self-discovery. I used to just put myself in the shoes of the person I'm trying to reach and say, well, I am the person. What would I want to see? But I believe it kind of fluctuates over time, especially with digital media, only because people may see something and then you may spark a different interest. Before, you seem more committed to only liking one thing because you only really had one option. But I find myself even liking things that I probably would never pick up on my own because I'm scrolling and finding things and saying, oh, I really like this. So I think it pivots over time and you have to be willing to be flexible. But what I mean is to keep the focus of, I guess, the mission of your company, and then make sure that target audience can understand it completely, or it's very easy for them to pick it up and digest. So I guess that's what I mean by making sure you cater to the target audience, because sometimes you're chasing things and you just seem like you're all over the place. So you have to still keep the aspect in mind saying, well, when they come here, they still want to find this information, whether I change it up of how I'm serving it to them or not.
Yeah. Coffee, let me ask you this. As far as tomorrow, we're going to be talking about that more today, about TikTok being banned. You know, a lot of streaming services have decreased in their cable usage based on a lot of, TikTok, social media. And you were talking about target audience. What's an approach when it comes to using social media to amplify your voice or your brand?
As we've known that each platform has a different audience of how they digest it. So it's always great to have a team because I can only see things one way. I would say that. Mm-hmm. So I would say when you're developing these strategies, try to, even if you have to go back to getting a focus group, try to see what works for what. I believe social media is still a big tool. You just have to believe that's what it is. It's just social media. It may not be locked into the actual person on what they be willing to do. Because just for instance, if you have an event and you have say you have 200,000 people on your social media page, you have an event and only 10 people buy tickets, something was lost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out, like I said, you have to still get out there and you have to make sure that those are solid people that will actually still translate to meet you outside of the digital world. And I think that's how sometimes the dollars are translated, because it's only so much that you can navigate to say, okay, this person may actually like this. You may have all these followers that one day based on one situation, but that doesn't mean those people are returning. So it's real fickle, but I feel like social media needs to be taken as what it is. It's social media.
That's right.
You need to be on there being social. You can't just worry about your page. You need to go on there and comment on other people's page. You need to go on and pull and stuff out from them. And you still need to socialize. You can't just say, oh, pick me, and come over here and I'm not going to talk to anybody else.
100%.
So, you're a bigger name. It seems like they're going through another loop of hoops, but we have no idea what bigger media has to deal with or what they're going through behind the scenes.
What's one of the biggest standout moments that you had from, either your magazine or some of the things that you've been doing? Yeah.
Just people circling back saying they either enjoyed being interviewed or someone saying they saw an interview. I was able to send when I did the hard copies and I interviewed TJ Jackson. He had a fan over in France, and I was able to mail them a copy. Or like maybe a month ago, Q Parker circled back around from 112 and was like, "Oh, this is probably one of the best interviews that I had. And I really appreciate you doing your homework or your due diligence on trying something different versus asking me the same questions everyone else asked me." So it's just people having a good time, and then even having results from the interview. My main mission is to, once you're interviewed by me or you're able to get on my platform, that you gain more people or you gain more followers, or people have a different level of respect from you based on your experience with us. So
Fantastic. Shanita, she's the editor-in-chief of Coffee Magazine. And I'll make sure that she talk a little bit more about that. She asked the name of the magazine, Coffee. And I want you to answer this because she wrote some information. At least I want your take on it. Okay. She said, I was teaching a small class of students and asked them about who is their ideal customer versus their buyer persona. This is interesting, Shanita. She said some didn't understand who it was and who they weren't, which would help them understand who they would like to target, and then complete the marketing research to identify their audience. So I provided them with how to conduct their client profiles by focusing on a group of people to help them also create their marketing messages. So what's your thoughts on that?
Seems like she's mentioning that she told them to create a focus group.
Yeah.
Which is like marketing 101.
Buyer personas, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll create something and say, well, I want these people to buy. And it's like, well, why would they buy it? So you still have to answer those questions, the why, the how, and the when. And you just still have to have those basic questions. And then see if that ideal target audience will even like it. So say you wrote a children's book and you're saying my book is for 10-year-olds, and then you take the book to a class of 10-year-olds and they're like, I don't want to read this. So it's like maybe 10-year-olds in the 1900s, 1989 would read it, but what about the 10-year-olds in 2025? You may have to up it up. So I think she did a great exercise for them to learn what that is and kind of readjust their perspective on what business is now. So like I said, networking and marketing is two different strategies. And I think a lot of people just think of, oh, if I put my product out there, that's marketing. Like, it's so many levels to marketing something that a team to me is necessary.
That's right. That's right. Even the idea what a brand is, and I don't think a lot of people even know what a brand is.
They just throw the word around. I ask young people all the time, like, do you even know what that word means? Like, because it's just like brand and then it goes away. But if you take it back to basics, like cereal box or anything, you know how much time and effort was putting into them designing, using the color scheme that works, using the font, using the shape of something, using something big and bold, something petite. Like it's really overwhelming if you try to do it by yourself and not do the research.
I agree with you. It's like human development mixed with psychology.
That part.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. This is a little bit off the beaten path. So I wanted to know, because you have that creativity and, you know, you're storyteller. So I'm going to ask you these 3 questions. What's your go-to meal or cuisine?
Well, my meal or cuisine. Okay, so it's changed because I changed my lifestyle of eating. I will say that.
Okay.
So I'm a salad and hummus and fruit girl. So anything that's fresh, it can be fresh hummus with bread. I'm great. My other snack meal would be strictly popcorn. I know that's weird, but Chicago makes popcorn. That's all I need in a movie. So those are my go-to comfort meals where I'm like, okay, this is easy, this is quick, and I'm full.
Okay, so next question. What about music? Music often fuels creativity. Who's your favorite musical artist?
I am still old school hip hop. So I'm still in love with Common and Nas. And if I can find Kendrick in there, I'm great. So I usually throw in some old school hip hop. I even got still some Little Brother in rotation. So
okay,
that is like my go-to thinking music. But I'll play some trap and some Glorilla if it's like I'm sleepy in the morning. And I'm like, okay, I gotta get up. I gotta get ready to conquer the world. So she's definitely on that top 10 list right there.
All right. And last question, because storytelling is such a huge part of your work, tell us about one or two of your favorite all-time movies.
Now, do not judge me. But my favorite movie, it's weird, but it's The Last Dragon.
Oh, wow.
I
We
watched it
interviewed
like
him, didn't we?
20 different times. I'm even a Sandlot. I can watch The Sandlot. It's
with the baseball kids.
Yes,
with the dog.
But like creative movies, I'm into a lot of. I'm like a mystery buff, so I'm into like mystery type movies. I don't know any new ones I like. I can still do probably a Superman or maybe even I can do a Creed on a good day. Okay. So I'm all over the place with movies because I'm visual with it. So if I have a connection with something in a movie that just triggered an emotion I had, that's my movie.
She said Wild Last Dragon.
I think it's because the era it came out, but truly I used to watch Kung Fu movies. And so people would say, you don't even know what they're saying. So when it came out, I was like, oh, it's a Kung Fu movie and I can understand the dialogue. So it just stuck. So it was one of those, I guess you can recognize the people look like us. And it was a Kung Fu flick. So it just had me.
No doubt.
Well, last question. Who and what inspires you?
Who and what?
Who or what?
Who or what? I would say just life in general inspires me. I've had people that I've witnessed going through just crazy mishaps or illnesses and still get up and they are ready to party during the day. So as long as I have breath and I'm healthy and I have my limbs and I'm moving around, I need to get up and make something happen. So that's me all day. I try to get more than 5 hours of sleep. It doesn't work. I'm usually super excited about, okay, what can I get done next? And so I try to keep that same energy. So life itself inspires me. I know we go through a lot and it's always going to be something happening. But the fact that you survived it and you are into the next day, thumbs up with that.
All right.
Fantastic. What do you have anything? Why don't you let everyone know if you have anything coming up? Where can they find you? All that good old stuff before we let you go. This time went that fast. Yeah. But I also, and I always say this, but you specifically, because you had a magazine, I would love for you to make some appearances. Just come on the show. Let's talk a little bit about some pop culture. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm willing to come.
We'd love for you to come on.
I'm willing to come. Well, recently I started doing with my digital cover collection series. So every month you're gonna find a digital cover as well as their interview on our YouTube. So that's something new that we're doing this year. It's gonna be every month. The next thing we have every year around the fall time, we have the Entrepreneur of the Year Award. So we'll start promoting that around August. So you can put your name in the hat for that if you have a business. Or if you know someone, you can also recommend and put their name in the hat for that. And then each year, Coffee Magazine will start coming out with a coffee table book. And it will have everything that we've done that year, as well as all the interviews. So I know you miss us having a physical magazine, but this would be like your collector's exclusive thing you can pick up and you'll get everyone interviewed from that year. So
fantastic.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
No doubt. I gotta throw this up. I don't want to date myself, Shanita. I ain't gonna date myself, but She said, I used to go to the Capitol to watch Kung Fu movies all day for $1. I'm going to tell you how right she is. This is an accurate statement.
There's nothing wrong with being, being up there. Where's the dollar movies? That not going to find those.
Shanita said, you have any, you got a YouTube channel?
Yes. You can find me at The Coffee Iman channel or The Coffee Network. So that's still FFEA for the name of the magazine and the network. And then you can find us at coffeemag.com. That's COFFEAMAG.com.
Awesome.
Fantastic. So make sure you go, Shanita, go like and subscribe, show some support, but, share the love, make sure you like and subscribe. You already, I'm sure you better be subscribed to We Talk Weekly already. I don't want to fuss on you here, Shanita. This is my people right here, so you already know. But We Talk Weekly's After Talk. I want to thank you, Coffee, for coming on the show. Excellent. One thing that we say on the show is once you come to the show, she said, "Can y'all let me see?" She cut me. She want to get in contact with you. She love you, Coffee. Can y'all pin her YouTube channel? So, Coffee, this is what I want you to do. Why don't you become a little contributor, right? And then if you become a contributor, we'll keep you plugged on the site with whatever you want, and they know how to get in contact with you. We send a direct link to you if you want to do something like that. Yeah. Okay.
Well, just talk to me. Let me know what I got to do.
Absolutely. So there you go. I'm talking for you. I'm talking for you, So, well, like I said, one time, once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show, so you're always welcome to come back. She said, thank you. She said, she likes you. She said, thank you. Awesome interview. Appreciate it. You got a new fan. You got a new follower. I'm sure it's more.
You gotta get out there. You gotta show up. Right?
There you go.
When We Talk Weekly.
You gotta show up. There you go. And make sure you come back. Coffee, we love you here. So make sure you come back.
So we'll see. We'll make that happen.
All right, there you go. All right, y'all, don't go anywhere. We coming. No, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so we're gonna go right to some good news and bad news. Thanks for coming to the show, Coffee. We appreciate you. You the real MVP, as we say. You the real.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
You too. Take care now. And so We Talk Weeklies After the Talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We Talk Weeklies After the Talk. And I'm your boy Charles Gregg with the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And you already know what we got coming on. We got
good news and bad news.
Give you a round of applause for this. All right, well, give it to me early.
All right, so the Los Angeles fires have been a huge concern for Americans. It's still unknown about the origins of the blaze that has over 27 fatalities. These fires have forced the evacuation of more than 170,000 residents. I have friends and family who have been affected by this. The cause of these wildfires are currently under investigation, and authorities have formed the Joint Regional Fire Crimes Task Force to probe fire-related crimes, including potential arson. Have you heard about that? While 2 individuals have been arrested for setting fires outside the wildfire zone, there is no confirmed information about an arsonist being responsible for the major fires. Contributing factors to the rapid spread of the fires include severe drought conditions and strong winds. Firefighters are making progress in containing the efforts, aided by temporary weakened winds. However, LA officials are saying they don't have the manpower to contain the fires. For instance, some of the fire hydrants have ran dry. Firefighters said for a typical house fire, a department may roll out 5 trucks. But for one house, that's great. If you have 100 homes, you need 500 trucks. Jeez. If you have 1,000 structures, there aren't enough fire engines in the state of California.
Wow. Hold on. So you're saying that for one home, you need 1 fire truck?
For one home, he said that you need at least 5 trucks. Some of them houses are huge. Wow. Yeah. So they're saying that they don't have the infrastructure for it. Jeez. All right, you guys may know about this. TikTok is supposed to be going away tomorrow, Sunday, January 19th of 2025. So I don't think it's going to happen, but if they don't sell to a U.S. company. So for people who do not know about why TikTok is going to be banned, you need to listen to this. This all began from a national security concern regarding TikTok's ownership by a Chinese company called ByteDance. U.S. feared that the Chinese government would exploit TikTok to access American user data or spread disinformation. TikTok has tried to do some changes, including storing the U.S. user data on Oracle servers. If the app goes offline, this sets an example for U.S. actions against foreign-owned technologies. Now, Trump asked the Supreme Court to temporarily pause the ban's implementation to give him time as president to negotiate a sale for TikTok, because he's a businessman. Even if TikTok ban does go into effect, a sale of the app to a non-Chinese owner could restore the access for U.S. users. So allegedly, a group formed by a billionaire entrepreneur and former Los Angeles Dodgers owner Frank McCourt and Shark Tank's investor Kevin O'Leary made a bid earlier this month to buy TikTok from the China-based company ByteDance. So did you know this? TikTok is worth $100 billion.
Jesus.
$100 billion. What? $1 billion in the elevator. All right. TikTok owner Ben Jing, the person who was founder of TikTok, he mysteriously passed away last year. So that's TikTok. The creator of TikTok, Cash App. There's another like huge tech guy who started one of these big tech companies that mysteriously died. Wow. Cash App guy died.
Interesting.
So the TikTok. So TikTok is available to over 170 million Americans. I don't have a percentage, but thousands of people are going to lose. If TikTok does go away, they're going to lose their livelihood. And they said that they'll have to completely rebuild. So people use TikTok to pay their bills, like mortgage and everything.
Yeah, that's the only reason I feel a little, because I'm on the fence with this, right? But it's the people that I feel a little sad that if it goes away, then they'll lose their business, right? That's one of the reasons why we can't depend on someone else's platform.
But I mean, honestly, if your product is what it is, like you said, what was the first? MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace.
Facebook is a updated or upgraded MySpace.
That's true.
Vine. TikTok is a up. So somebody gonna come and do it. Yeah. All right, this next story really is like, to me, is sad and it's a senseless. 17-year-old Noah Scurry was an academic and talented basketball player. He was shot in the Feltonville area of Philly as he was getting into his mother's car. She was taking him to Samuel Fells High School where he was a student. Noah's peers and teachers admired his intelligence, leadership, and his unshakable positivity. Tragically, this promising young man with dreams of college basketball and a bright future was taken away. There's a video also surfacing of Noah brandishing a gun on social media, which police is still saying is being investigated. Police have located a white cheap Grand Cherokee that they believe was involved. Police are asking for anyone who may have any information to call the anonymous hotline at 215-686-TIPS. That's 215-686-8477. Wow. There's a lot of rumors and everything going around about this young man and his killing, but there's so many. There's a extended family member of ours that just lost his life as well. He was coming in the house and they shot him in front of his house. Jeez. And his mother didn't see it, but she heard what was going on. And then this young man, he was getting into the car and his mother was right there. And they're getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
He's 17, extended family member. He was 18. It's
What's
sad.
the tip line again?
215-686-TIPS.
Okay.
Yep, 215-686-8477. All right, here's the, I don't know if this is good, bad, or what, because I ain't give y'all no good news, but it is what it is. All right, so President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration will be moved indoors. He announced this Friday and said it's due to dangerously cold temperatures projected in the nation's capital. I have ordered the inauguration address, in addition to prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the U.S. Capitol Rotunda, as was used by Ronald Reagan in 1985 because of the very cold weather. Trump posted this on his Truth Social. The swearing-in ceremony will take place inside the Capitol Rwanda. Reagan, like I said, in 85 under similar weather conditions. The Rotunda can accommodate around 700 people and will only host members of Congress, their spouses, and VIPs. So most ticketed guests, initially when it was outside, it was expected to exceed 200,000 people, which will not attend now in person due to the limited space. The ceremony is labeled a national special security event, with agencies adjusting their plans now, because instead of being outdoors, it's now indoors. So the Secret Service of U.S. And law enforcement are still, working on the blueprints. Trump emphasized the potential health risk for attendees due to freezing temperatures, expressing concern for law enforcement personnel and first responders. Like I said, Reagan's last time it was indoors was in 1985. All right, so here's the honorable mention of the inauguration being indoors. The honorable mention is the performers that will be at the inauguration or have already done something for the inauguration. So basically, this is all around performing for Trump. Now, just a little reminder, do y'all remember when Chrisette Michele performed at the inauguration?
Shout out to Chrisette Michele.
Shout out. That child's, I think her whole brand, her whole professional career plummeted because she performed there. I have not heard from her since that time.
She's still doing a little work, though.
They gave her so much flack.
She did.
I don't know how Steve Harvey got back, but he was like right there on the chopping block. Anyway, so the performers at the inauguration is going to be Carrie Underwood, the Village People, who had hits like YMCA, country singer Lee Greenwood, Kid Rock and Billy Ray Cyrus.
Not surprised.
Yeah, they're going to be there, and others too. But on Friday, at the inaugural Crypto Ball, that's an event held for members of the crypto industry.
That's right.
Celebrating Trump's return to office. They said, with red, make Bitcoin great again.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, I'm sorry. Yes, with red, make Bitcoin great again hats, making his rounds among guests. So some of those performers are rapper Snoop Dogg, rapper Rick Ross, and rapper Nelly. And there's other ones. So they have been, basically, this is an endorsement to show their support for Donald Trump. All right, so y'all tell us what y'all think in the comments, call us, or, even if after you see this live, let us know what you think. Do you think, now, there is something going viral with Snoop.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, there's a comment Snoop made when Trump won the first time as our president. He said, who gonna be shucking and jiving? Or I want to see so I can roast you, whoever's going to be performing at the inauguration. Right. And that's why they say, it's a saying that, be careful who you laugh at. Those are the ones you become.
That's heavy.
That was your good news and your bad news from Classy Lady Sparkle.
Good news and bad news from Classy Lady Sparkle. I'm your boy, Charles Gregory, the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
There you go. This is We Talk Weekly's After the Talk on WPPM.
I want to know about the rant. What you mean? You ain't going to close. Let me calm down. That's the yelling again. I want to know about the rant. Can you tell us about the rant?
So all right. So I'm going to give y'all a little context because I said that I'll give y'all a rant. So everybody who's watching, most of the people who are watching, they probably know me already, right? And so, today, based off of, because I think this is an excellent transition, right? So we know that the inauguration is coming up. Now, honestly, if I'm being honest, I never knew who was going to be there, right? And you're saying now that this is actually, they're not going to be at the inauguration. They're going to be at an event.
They already did it.
Oh, they already
did it? It already
Okay.
happened. It was the crypto Bitcoin inauguration. Make Bitcoin great again.
Okay, so that's fake news, false information that's already out there, because the narrative is that they were performing at the inauguration.
No.
Which is inaccurate, right? So that's the first thing that's inaccurate, right? So they performed at this crypto situation, right? For those who don't know,
AKA inauguration.
AKA inauguration. Yeah, true. And there's a lot of people very, very upset. A lot of it has to do with, one, that it is Trump. I get it. Two, there was some pushback in 45, the 45 inauguration, right? And, you know, that was fresh out the air. You know, that was fresh. And everybody, Trump, this is what? Like, nothing. You better not do anything about Trump, right? I get it. I was one of them, right? And so, fast forward, they're talking about this stuff, right?
Okay.
And so one of the comments, let me see if I could bring this up. One of the comments that I happened to mention, or, you know, someone posted, and I can say that he, you know, someone that I truly respect. Let me see, is this it? Let me see if I can find him. All right, cool. So this was a comment that someone posted, right? Now, mind you, I wouldn't be saying anything about this.
I can't.
Okay, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it for those who, you know, just kind of
can't read.
Can't not. We won't say that, but you know. So the comment said, "Nelly and Snoop Dogg, if you don't make them suffer any financial hardship or pain, your outrage is wasted. Period." Okay, cool. You know, below that, I don't know if you see this, and this will probably come up in context later. It says the generation behind us are lazy, physically and intellectually. Excuse me, sir, but okay, right? He talking about like our generation or whatever, which is cool. A younger generation, it's all right. No, we get it. Cool. So he was mad. So this rant, you know, is just me acknowledging this gentleman for mentioning me. Now, I wouldn't have said anything, but they wanted me to put a petty cape on it. Petty Eddie. They want me to be petty. Why would you mention me though? Right?
So he mentioned you?
So he mentioned you. So I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna show you this one post, right?
Okay.
And then I'm gonna play the audio. He didn't just mention me.
Oh. He gave you an audio.
He gave me an audio. Audible. He called it audible, right? And so matter of fact, before I do all that,
he called it audible.
He called audible, right? I called audible, right? So let me go through, before I play the audio, right? Let me go through some of the text, and so I can explain some of the stuff that's going on, so you can understand, right, what he's talking about. So he posted that, right? And then, so this is my comment. So I said, do anyone on your timeline even listen to them anyway? Because he's talking about Nelly and Snoop. Right? Cool. This is his post.
Okay. Yeah.
This is his post, you know, so that's cool.
Nah, they OGs.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Okay.
Right, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, who on the timeline is listening to him? So in context, for me, posting this is kind of like, yo, they hold no weight for us to even support a Trump anyway. Like, who is following Nelly and Snoop? But anyway, this is what I said. I said, do anyone on your timeline even, you know, listen to them anyway? I said, sometimes I think we pick the wrong things to be hysterical about.
Okay.
All right, cool.
I agree with that.
Yeah, right? It's like, come on.
Yeah.
So he says to me, with all due respect, my brother, if you don't understand why them performing is wrong thing, then we don't have anything to talk about. I was like, all right, cool. I mean, like, you know, it's all good. If that's, you know, you got a right to your opinion. You got a right to how you feel, right? So I'm like, all right, look, you know, it's for me, it's not a big deal, right? It's like, yo, it's rich people problems.
Right.
I don't care about rich people. So then I respond, I said, I guess not. I said, I guess not, brother. I'm much more concerned about the lady begging for food on the Girard Avenue exit every day here in Philly. So I guess you're right. Rich people problems don't sway me that much. So for me, that I'm only talking for me, that them performing at Trump, we are paying too much attention to that. paying too much attention to it. We shouldn't even care. So he responds, and you don't think we? He said, and you, I need some music on here. Let me see if I can get some. All right, here we go. So we can put some good music on. So he said, and you don't think we and I have been concerned about that either? I've been multitasking all my life, regardless of the issue. What Snoop, Nelly, Rick Ross, and the rest are doing is wrong and disrespectful to the black community. Next time you have their ear, ask them to cut a check for that poor woman worried about, and tell me what happens. Okay, he took a little shot. I'm like, all right, it's all good, player. Like, listen, I see you getting a little ruffled. You're getting a little ruffled. It's all good. So I respond, I'm sure they wouldn't cut a check. They don't know about this young woman. They don't know about us in Philadelphia. They don't even know us. To my point. Rich people problems, right? I said, I never said you wasn't concerned. Nothing in my post said that he wasn't concerned. Never said that, right? I said, I know much more. I said, I know much of your work also. You will always get flowers for that. I'm giving them kudos. I'm giving them a nod, right? I said, I'm just saying, I'm not sure why people are hysterical over this, as the people who I saw mention this don't even listen to him anyway. To that point is, if they don't listen to him, you think they follow or even care what they do? Right. They don't care about Snoop or Nelly. I know I don't really. I said, it's interesting that we are not promoting to just turn off the TV when this happens. But hey, you posted. This is your post. I'm sure expecting people don't comment, right? I said, I'm just giving my 2 cents. I'm done. No bad intentions over here. Have a great night.
He gave it.
Have a great night, right?
Who got the last word?
He said.
After that post?
So after this post, right?
Okay.
So then he goes to, hold on, let me go here. I want you to see this. He goes, well, I'm leaving soon. Now, this was a day ago. He said, well, I'm leaving soon, and it looks like TikTok is coming with me. TikTok being meta-free. Technically, he's saying he's going or he's leaving, right? All right, cool. Interesting. Now, you heard what I said, right? Why don't you just turn off your TV? He says, turn your TVs off tomorrow and make sure Trump inaugural is the least watched of all times. This is exactly what I said from the door. So why you mad? Why you mad, son? Why you mad?
If anything, you should feel good that he, it's not the messenger, it's the message, and no matter how he got it, he still presented it.
Exactly. So I'm going to play a little something. Why? And this is the context why.
It's Saturday night, and I've been going back and forth with a number of you about the inaugural, and Snoop and Nelly, Rick Ross, Soulja Boy, Charles Gregory Postel, Denise Clay, Cherry Gregg, all of you, everyone I've been going back and forth with. What you don't want to do is normalize and legitimize Donald Trump. And that's what performances by Snoop Dogg and Nelly and anyone else from the black community does. It normalizes and legitimizes everything this man has done up to now and who he is. Donald Trump was just using these folks to better set forth his agenda. But ask yourself a question. How many black folks has he tried to get confirmed for any position? Remember all those black folks that most of us never heard of, Byron Donalds and Tim Scott? What happened to them? They haven't been appointed to anything. There hasn't been one major black man or woman talked about being appointed to anything in the new Trump administration. Just one position over at HUD. And he filled that with a black face none of us have ever heard of or even know. So Charles Postel said, man, do any of your followers or listeners even listen to Stoop's music anymore? I don't know. I know I play it on the air. I play it at night. 100.3 plays some of his music. We play Nelly's music. We play Rick Ross. We play Soulja Boy. So yeah, when I was the host of Sounds of the Underground over in Jersey at Mahorns, I met Snoop. I met them all back then. I mean, I was an MC, a host of a popular hip-hop rap TV show. So of course I met them all. Nowadays, guys like Snoop, they're making incredible endorsement deals. So it's not about listening to their music. It's about listening to them and following them as influencers and pitchmen and women.
All right, so.
Oh, wow.
So guess who's not?
That voice sounds very, I'm not even going to call it out, but that voice sounds.
Mr. Native Man.
Yes, that is a very familiar voice here in Philadelphia.
And so Petty Eddie, given that I'm a little petty, you know, I felt the need just to address it. And it's all fun. It's all in good fun, you know, because I respect this guy, right? But he mentioned me. He mentioned my name, right? So because you mentioned me, now I got to mention you, sir. I got to address it, right? And so the fact that he brought up Denise Clay and Sherry Gregg, first of all, I didn't like that. Because you're talking about two dynamic women who are very, very intelligent, very, very smart, and do a lot of work in these communities, right?
Well, I don't think he said anything bad.
I don't think he said anything bad either. But the fact that he felt the need to come on live and addressed us, because he put me in there, right? It wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary. So maybe he just wanted content, which is cool, you know. But when you do that, you just have to risk somebody saying something back.
That's it. That's it. I mean, I don't know why people have taken this like it's so important, like as if this is your next of kin. And I mean, I don't know. I think that when we look at celebrities, depending on who you're looking at, they feel as though, even though he said he played the music, but even though he doesn't, or who the followers are, to your point, they're the OGs of who's coming up. Mm-hmm. So if he's looking at it that like vicariously, yeah, you don't have to look at Soulja Boy, Chris, Nelly, Rick Ross, or Snoop, but these are the ones who influence those that are coming. So even though it's not them, they still have a very high impact on the generation that are moving up the ladder.
And I would even consider that, right? Mm-hmm. We know what happened in this election.
Right.
They had Beyonce up there.
For the Biden administration.
Yeah. They still not in office now. So that's my thing. It doesn't matter. People are smarter than a fifth grader, right? Right. You can see who needs to or who I would like to vote for, not because someone told me to do so. That's an old way of thinking. And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that the Democratic Party did. This going out doing what we said didn't work, what people were saying didn't work. Instead of listening to the people, they decided to do their old strategies from the old playbook, right?
Can I make one point?
Sure.
The reason, and I forgot to mention Soulja Boy because he did it too. The reason Soulja Boy, Rick Ross, Snoop Dogg, and Nelly, I don't even know why Nas ain't there. They made millions off of crypto.
That's my next
They
point.
not there for Trump. They there because they like, yo, we made bread off of this digital coin, and now we want it back because it lost its value, and we're going to perform because more than likely we're getting paid. More than likely we endorse this crypto. It really, even if they do want Trump or whatever, it don't have nothing to do with Trump. It's from the business side.
Exactly.
So,
and that's
point.
It. And that's the
so
point.
it's really, if anybody is looking at that, the native man is in his feelings, opposed to him being in his logic as to why what's going on. So you can look at different types of scenarios and say, hey, I got a mechanic he smells bad. He has the worst customer service, but my car purrs like a kitten. I'm gonna take my car to him every time.
Every time.
It's just make it make sense.
Yeah. That's what I'm make it make sense. So you're talking about people who got rich off of Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And it was a Bitcoin affair, right?
Rick Ross always talks about how much he got.
All the time,
Nas
right?
does.
And so
DJ Khaled.
It's less about Trump and more about the new movement to support a digital currency.
That's it.
That's it, right? So I think sometimes we get to this point where we start to overstand.
Right.
We overstanding it. Not to mention, in the little rant that he gave me, Charles Gregory Postel. He said my whole government.
Do your movie voice.
Hi, this is Movie Phone, right? Hi, Charles Gregory Postel. This is the problem with you, right? And so so his little rant, right? He mentioned Trump like 3-4 times in a minute, 2 minute. It's literally like another issue. Stop mentioning this guy. Stop mentioning Trump.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so when comedians talk about things that are off limit, the first thing we say is what? They're comedians. And they're like, hey, don't take Dave Chappelle for every word because he's what? A comedian.
Good comedian, yeah.
If you're an artist, the one thing that you want to do is expand your target audience. Every artist, every actor always says, I don't want to be boxed in. I want the other ethnicities or the other audience so that I can be, global. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times when here in the U.S., they say, hey, I want to go over to Japan. I want to go over to the Philippines. I want to go over so people can know who we are. Why would these artists not take the stance of being in a room full of people that don't look like them, that don't listen to their music, to go ahead and have that opportunity to do that, to stay relevant? These are older generations that have died off that people probably, I'm quite sure they heard and listened to him. Yeah. But Snoop is the king of it. Mm-hmm. With him and Martha Stewart, who would have thought? Mm-hmm. So for them to take that opportunity, I think the native man is not looking at it from a business perspective. He's looking at it from a feeling perspective.
In his feelings.
That's all I got.
He's just in his feelings. No doubt. He's just in his feelings. So pretty much, bottom line is, get out your feelings, right? It's not that big of a deal. Just turn off the TV. Like for me, I'm just like, look, I'm not really concerned with rich people problems. The reason why we know 45 is because of what? We didn't want to say his name. So he was known as 45. Everyone just called him 45. Meanwhile, someone's overstanding and mentioning his name over and over again. If you didn't even mention his name, mention that they were even going to be at this thing, I wouldn't even knew.
Man, but this same generation, I just said I had nothing else to say. This same generation didn't say that back in the early 90s, late 80s. Every athlete, every rapper, everybody was like, yo, you going to Trump Plaza, you going to the casino. It wasn't then. Like, what changed? And to your point, turn your TV off. One, you still can hear a tree fall, or the tree still makes a noise if you're not in the room. So turn your TV off, I get it, but it's still a part of history. So if you turn your television off, you're just going to miss that part of history, and it still happened. So if it's going to happen and you're living here, why not keep it on to see what part of history that you can still see? Don't look at it from, it is what it is. Yeah. So it's watch it.
Uh-oh.
All right, he gonna call my name next.
He gonna do another. He gonna do another
Sparkle Howell.
Sparkle Howell. How you gonna Sparkle Howell?
I mean,
you shouldn't be telling people to watch something like that because you are going against the black community.
Like it or not, he's still our president. They cannot put his picture in the post office, whatever it is. He's still our president. And you don't have enough time to get dual or citizenship somewhere else. So you're an American. He's your president. It is what it is. And honestly, if you go from a spiritual perspective, a God perspective, you're going to say, hey, I'm supposed to pray for him because he is our leader. He's our commander in chief.
That's right.
So as that same person, I want to know, Native man, are you a man? Are you a man that believes in God? Because if you do, then this kind of conversation is futile. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it is what it is. Yeah. So pray for him that he leads us in the right direction.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, I Spark saying, keep your TV on.
You gonna tag him on this?
I don't need to. I'm sure to get around. Because he didn't tag me. He just mentioned my name. And again, you know, as a disclaimer, the only reason I'm talking about this is because he put me out there. He mentioned my name twice. And he made sure that he mentioned me, and maybe he knew that I would say this.
Trump is about to do not the IRS, but the ERS, an External Revenue Service, where tariffs are going to start now being charged, where our taxes for the American dollar. He's taken and he's. What has he done? He said that there's no more children being able to do sex changes. It's a lot of things that he has done that he hasn't even been elected, that he's like, hey, this is what we're changing. Yeah, decorum and certain things. No politician you're supposed to put your trust in totally. Because it's too many people that they got to please that they can't please everybody. Even Biden's administration, there's a lot of things that people can say they didn't like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I just want to go back to exhibit. Let me see. Is this exhibit?
I'm done.
I know, right? Yes, what you said last time.
Right, I did.
All right, let me see.
I'm done.
All right, so let me see. All right, so go back to exhibit 3. Those B or C, right? Literally, you can see here, I said, it's interesting that we are not promoting turn off the TV. I literally said that in a post, right? He was fussing. He did a video. He fussing. About an hour later, right? fussing, right? About an hour later, he says, just turn your TVs off. Literally,
that should have made your heart smile.
It did. I was like, all that. Listen, if you can see here, it said 1981 Ben Vereen performing in blackface. So he pretty much was saying that I was acting like Ben Vereen, or he's saying that, you know, the shucking and jiving and X, Y, and Z, which was another reason I'm doing this. Right? Yeah, he alluded to it, and so the whole thing was just like, dude, you serious? Like, you serious? You really want to go there? You really want to go there?
No, right. But at the end of the day, whatever message you was trying to deliver to him, he got it.
He got it
absolutely,
now.
yeah. And even if you can't take credit for it, then don't, because it ain't about credit for you. It's about the message being properly, delivered.
Right. So, Mr. Native Man, are you understanding the words that's coming out of my mouth? I will be turning off my TV, not watching it, and I'll just wait to hear your rant afterwards to tell people how black they are not. All right. And so with that said, I love you, my brother. This is just fun conversation. Everything is good. I don't want nobody to take this back. Oh, he was no, do you hearing it from the horse's mouth? It's just
he need to come on the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Let him come on the show.
There you go.
So he could be a guest. Invite him. Tag him. Come on the show.
Come on the show.
He's very well known in Philadelphia. And I hold high respect for him. But I want to know what he has to say.
Come on, Cletus, come on. Come on, Cletus, come on. The invitation is there. Come on. So that's our show, man. We talk weekly after the talk with WPPMLP Philadelphia, 106.5 FM. We talk weekly after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory, the beautiful.
Classy Lady Sparkle.
And we talk weekly after talk, and we out here. All the flowers, you deserve all the flowers, dog. You did a lot in the community. Absolutely. You did a lot for radio. Shout out. You deserve all your flowers. So, no, this is not a shot. I'm just punching back. You punching me, I gotta punch you back. Simple as that. But yeah, audible called audible, right? So make sure you tune in next week. Thanks. Make sure you like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Share this video. You got something to say? Holla at us. You want to come on the show? Holla at us. You feel like something that we said was entertaining, or you would like to know more or hear more? Just let us know. We talk weekly, y'all. We out here like last year.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.